Hello, my name is Sam Gallagher,
And my name is Nathan Marks.
and we are doing our senior project on a facility design and analysis of a battery pack assembly. In this video, we're going to go over the introduction to our project, our problem statement, a little background on why we picked it, our design and methodology for our project, and what we plan to do as we move forward.
Sharpel Technologies is currently looking to evaluate a proposed battery pack assembly line for their electric automobile, which at the moment is still in the design and prototyping phase. As we see here, this is an example of a battery pack, much like the one that Sharpel Technologies is currently creating. Each pack contains 12 battery modules, as well as various other components that will be touched on later on in this video.
As of now, Sharpel Technologies is looking for database recommendations on how to proceed with the manufacturing component of creating their electric vehicle. Currently, they will need a full simulation and supply chain analysis, yielding quantitative results that will be transformed into qualitative conclusions and suggestions. Furthermore, Sharpel Technologies requires insight into whether creating this line in the U.S. is a feasible option as opposed to outsourcing to another country.
To sum this all up into one basic problem statement, we have Sharpel Technologies is currently looking to design and evaluate a proposed battery pack assembly line for their electric automobile. Considering Sharpel Technologies is not yet ready to begin production, we began by looking at how other similar companies are running their businesses. Specifically, Tesla Motors and Nissan are two companies that are making huge strides in the electric vehicle manufacturing market. So that was one of the areas that we focused on during our literature review. After other research, as well as talking to our client, we determined what will have to be installed in the assembly of the pack, and have established a baseline for the necessary workstations. This allowed us to pinpoint the required individual processes that make up the assembly of the battery pack for the electric vehicle. This is a basic flowchart of the assembly process of the electric vehicle Sharpel Technologies is currently creating. Basically, due to time constraints, we can only go over a few of the key components. The first one being the pack getting lifted onto the AGV. This is just the bottom plate of the pack, and it's important to note that we're using AGVs, which are automated ground vehicles, in this design of the assembly process. One of the other key components is when the modules are actually installed into the battery pack. This happens right here after the cooling lines and the non-conductive sticky sheet is applied. One of the last and most important processes is the charging station, which takes place at the very end of the process. This is when it's tested with a high voltage test, as well as given its first charge to a specific percentage that is still being determined by Sharpel Technologies.
The overall design or methodology we will follow in creating and evaluating our project is established in the following order. Research current EV manufacturers to assess competition. Establish battery pack assembly, the assembly process for Sharpel Technologies vehicle. Propose alternative facility designs for battery pack assembly. Simulate production for each design and observe the differences we find. And now analyze proposed designs to determine the optimal layout for Sharpel's manufacturing plant. And finally, evaluate economic feasibility within the U.S. in regards to facility and material costs.
Here we have a proposed SketchUp layout using the most current steps of the assembly process that were shown in the flowchart. It begins with the bottom plate being placed on the AGV, as mentioned before, and then proceeds through the steps that were also previously mentioned. Of course, this is only one possible layout, and our group is currently in the process of creating others as well as beginning to create them in Simio.
As we move forward with our project, we will evaluate our current setup as well as look into other ways of setting up the assembly line. We will also eventually begin experimentation and analysis of our current design in the near future.